Yeah, I think what happened in the first half in terms of chances were basically just a few half chances. Like you had the Benzema Rodrigo cut-ins from the left um, that were either saved or they went just wide, or Cruz from long distance taking a snapshot. I'm glad you led with Granada's defense to start as one of the key points, because I think that one was worth pointing out as one of the bigger storylines in this game. So you spoke about the press. I think one of the reasons why they were able to recover and transition so well is that Diego Martinez put out kind of like this 4-1-4-1, or it kind of morphed into 4-5-1, 5-4-1 at times, depending really on where Euan was. And I think Euan role was interesting because he's basically playing in front of the back four, in between the midfield, as kind of like this Anko pseudo sweeper who just, his role is to clog vertical channels and clog the central spaces and make sure, there's not free reign with Fede and co just moving around wherever they want. And I think that helped them because it helped them transition defense. It helped them get into the right spots at the right time. And it also gave kind of an extra body for Vallejo and Duarte in the middle. And also, like, they didn't have to sacrifice their width because they didn't have to take, Puertas or Kennedy or bring them interior and play narrow. They could keep those guys on the wing, combat Rodrigo Vasquez, Carvajal Mendy, and Eteki just stays in the middle. Now, I think what also happened was that you didn't, there was space to work with. So, I also think in conjunction to that, Real Madrid's offense wasn't that bad, despite not scoring and despite not having clear-cut chances. I thought Rodrigo played really well until he got injured. He was a nice source of offense from the left, cutting in, defending well with Mendy. And again, Fede and Benzema's movement was good. I mean, Cruz always had someone to pick out, whether it was someone ahead of him or someone out wide. And Vasquez was being Vasquez. Not everything was efficient, but I mean, the cutbacks in general, movement was pretty good. So I thought, so when you say Granada's defense and the tactical battle, that's all bang on to me. I thought that's what this was. I mean, it was two teams who defended well. And, the thing with Real Madrid is, this is 6 games now in a row they've won. Over the 6-game stretch, they've conceded 2 goals only. And they've been defending well. They've pretty much approached the level of defensive astuity of the post-lockdown championship run, where they were winning every game 1-0. It's kind of getting close to that. And I mean, the chances that Granada had today, if you look at them, it's like either self-inflicted pain from Real Madrid, where Varane's giving it away, or someone's giving it away, or Courtois juggling in the box. Either that, or it was set pieces. Granada had open bodies on set pieces. You had that Vallejo header in the first half that he doesn't quite direct it on goal, but he directed to another player who I think may have been offside. I can't remember. In the second half, there were a couple of set piece occasions. So yeah. So what else about Granada caught your eye? Maybe it was something offensively. Maybe it was Vallejo. I mean, Vallejo obviously is connected to this podcast, being in that he's a Real Madrid loanee. Anything else from that first half that stood out to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, let's talk about Vallejo. I think you asked about him after the game, but yeah, I mean, Vallejo still isn't necessarily always a starter there at Granada, but got the chance in this game. And I mean, we mentioned there that header that he had. That it ended up being an offside and didn't lead to anything, but he was there causing havoc in the opposition box, but also in his own box was pretty comfortable, I thought, throughout. Again, it was partly because he was so well protected that the Granada centre backs didn't actually have all that much to do, because the guys like Eteki in front of them did so much of the work. And then when Real Madrid did get to the byline and did have those cutbacks, it wasn't always in the direction of the centre-backs anyway. It was someone else coming there to try and deal with that. But no, I thought he had an overall good game, and a big occasion for him. I mean, to play against Real Madrid is massive for him, because it was so long he didn't even get to play for anybody, for injuries, for various reasons. So he can go home happy with this performance, even if it was in a defeat.
Yeah, I think he had one of those games where I wish I had focused on him more to see how he was doing. I honestly he was lost on my radar a little bit, which is not a good or bad thing. It's just my mind was so much focused on elsewhere. If we do a loan tracker, I may rewatch this game and just watch him. So that's why I kind of asked Diego Martinez about him. I wanted to know what his take was on Vallejo's performance to give me some insight that I didn't have. So what I asked him, because the three kind of like flashbulb moments that Vallejo had in this game, one is the header he had. Actually, the two really that I can think of. One is the header offensively on the set piece, and the second one was that Casemiro just towers over him and scores. And so I asked him, like, he had that moment, but otherwise, like, how was he? How did you think? And Diego Martinez kind of dodged the question and said, we don't look at plays or things. We don't evaluate things on an individual basis. We evaluate them on a collective basis. For context, I'll just read the whole quote because I transcribed it. He says, "We never discuss individual performances, and I think the team in general, and also Vallejo in particular, I give them a good grade tonight. We are a modest team, and it's a big challenge for us to come to the Bernabeu." And then he laughs, he corrects himself and says, "I meant Valdebebas," to face this great team like Real Madrid. And I believe that overall the performance was very good, even if we would have obviously liked to score at least a point. So basically a non-answer, but he gave Vallejo a good grade, which, is a political answer. But I actually think that may be correct because it's not like Granada were breaking down defensively. Again, it's just one or two sequences. And this goes back to Vallejo's weakness for years, even at Frankfurt at his peak, when he was one of the best defenders in the Bundesliga. His one weakness was that if there's a cross coming in and it's between him and somebody else, he's probably losing it or not getting to it. And if you kind of rewind the goal that Casemiro scored, you look at him and Casemiro, and they're kind of moving together in like almost like orbiting each other like two moons or whatever. Whoever is an astronomist can correct me on this lingo, but they're kind of like with each other. They're moving towards each other in the box on the far post. And I think Vallejo is just too far off him. Like he's way too far off him, which gives Casemiro the momentum to run to the cross that Asensio puts in it and just head it in. So that was my take on Vallejo's performance.
Yeah, he's just